Great IndyCar race this weekend in St. Pete. What'd you see, Nate?
I saw a little bit of what we'd seen in NASCAR the previous 2 weeks. Yeah, Brad Keselowski win Atlanta, Joey Logano wins Las Vegas. So the pressure was on Team Penske's IndyCar team coming to St. Petersburg, and they lived up to it. They swept qualifying with Will Power on the pole and Josef Newgarden here qualifying second. And then during the race, good strategy call by Tim Cindric, put Josef Newgarden out front, and he opens the IndyCar season with a win for Team Penske.
Well, a year ago, Robert Wickens was the driver turning heads at St. Pete. He was kind of the new guy on the scene, but there's another new guy on IndyCar that's really turning some heads down at St. Pete as well.
Turned a lot of heads, Steve. Felix Rosenqvist for Chip Ganassi Racing. This was his IndyCar debut, and people had heard of this guy. He'd done some things in Formula E and some other lower ladder series, but for him to step into the number 10 car at Chip Ganassi Racing, which has a lot of history, Dario Franchitti won 3 championships in this car, but they hadn't really had a lot of success since Franchitti retired 6 years ago. Rosenqvist steps into this car, takes it to Josef Newgarden on the start, passes him for second, and then Will Power is considered probably the elite street course racer in IndyCar, maybe the greatest street or road course racer of all time. Rosenqvist passed him with a power move off a restart and really showed, hey, this is a guy who could be around for a while.
So all the old guys, they think it's cool for a few races when the young guy comes around. But it won't be long. They'll be like, enough of you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Robert Wickens. He was at the racetrack this weekend. Crazy story to see him at the racetrack. How was that?
It was great. I mean, he got the warmest welcome you can possibly imagine. He was somewhat, I think, taken aback by it because fans were cheering and chanting his name as soon as he entered the paddock, and everywhere he went, obviously there were so many well-wishers, whether it was, his teammate here, James Hinchcliffe, talking to him in the paddock and pit lane. And, just a wonderful story. And as we heard in the interview he did with Kelly Stavis that ran in the pre-race show, I mean, he hopes to be back. And he really thinks racing is his life, and he wants to drive a car again.
Well, that interview was telling. If anybody hasn't seen it, they need to go find it. It was quite the thing. But so I've never met Robert Wickens. I was a fan because I'm a racing fan. I've seen what he's done in the race car. But ever since that accident, I started following what his recovery's been on social media, and it's breathtaking. It's really humbling to see what he's willing to do to get back into a race car. I can only say that now because that's what he told Kelly. Like, that's his goal. That's what he wants to do. There wasn't even a simple video about boarding the plane to get down there. There wasn't an easy access. So it's him working his way. If that right there isn't drive, determination and desire, nothing else. So he is. I feel like I know him, and I've never met him, but his social media and what he's doing, it's really breathtaking.
And the thing about this that he sent out, he said he didn't expect this when he got there.
Right.
And he's like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yep. What's next?
I'm going to find a way to get up these stairs. And I mean, you think about a guy like that. Here he was, this incredible racer that was making a huge name for himself, gaining a tremendous amount of respect. And then in a blink of an eye, his life's changed. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to beat it. And when you watch him, this is the thing that strikes me about it. When you watch him, you don't go home with him to realize the pain, the struggle. We see little blips of of the success that he's having, but the struggle that he's having, and he keeps overcoming that. Man, that's so impressive.
I mean, that was what was interesting, Jeff. He talked about that with Kelly in an interview about, like, sometimes I almost feel as if I'm too positive on social media because people think, oh, it's not a long, arduous, difficult comeback. I mean, he said physically it's tough, but mentally and emotionally, this is the toughest thing. It's 100 times harder than the physical part. It's the hardest thing he's ever done. But, to your point, Steve, he's been so open and candid with people about it on social media. I think that's what has made it such a heartwarming story.
Yeah, it's great to watch, and it's painful to watch all at the same time. But I hope he understands the inspiration that he's become to so many.
Yep.
And hopefully in a bad situation, some good can come from it. So thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Fun IndyCar. You have a good time?
I think NASCAR should do a street race. What do you think?
Well, I can tell you one thing. Selfishly, IndyCar's back, NASCAR's back, a lot of racing. The roll wasn't enough. Now a street race?
Street race.
Oh, boy.
Next level.
So you can send letters and comments at Nate Ryan if you want to make comments about that. So we're going to get back to Phoenix, though. When we come back, we want to talk about something that the drivers probably need to pay a little more attention to, and that is the rules.